All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode on our podcast. And of course, it's one thing we always after. It's always about giving information to you because the difference that makes what makes the difference between a person and the other. In terms of what they're actually able to achieve is because of the information they are privy to. And we are here again today to give you one of the best shots we could have. And today we'll be talking about something that revolves around migration of people from outside the United Kingdom into the United Kingdom, and of course outside the United Kingdom as well. Today you are going to be listening to one of our best brains from Nigeria here in the United Kingdom in the law and the legal field. He's a person you've actually been hearing his voice. We're just trying today to bring the face to the voice so that you can be able to attach the face to the voice. And I can tell you today that you definitely will be having a good time talking about leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom. What is leave to remain outside the leave to remain in UK? I mean, outside the rule in the UK, what does it mean? Who is eligible to have these things done? And so today, without further ado about nothing, I will be introducing our guest. Can we just roll it out and just give it up to Mr. Promise Aku? Welcome on board today, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kehinde.
It's really nice to have you on board.
Thank you, and my greetings to all the audience listening to us this time, anywhere, any part of the world.
So just a quick disclaimer to let you know that we are not promoting or just advertising Mr. Samuel Haku. He's just passionate about sharing information that has to do with people being enlightened about immigration, as that is his own way of contributing back or giving back to the society. So today, like I did mention to you, we will be going straight without wasting much time. So what is leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom? If you can tell us more, sir.
Thank you, my host. Yeah, the word leave outside the rule connotes grant outside the rule. So the full word means leave outside immigration rule.
Okay.
So, and all immigration rule as it relates to border entry and exit can be found in the Immigration Guidance 2024 version 2.0. UK Immigration 2024 guidance. So there are guiding rules. We call them rules.
Okay.
Because they are not essentially immigration rules does not come under the Parliamentary Act of UK.
Okay.
They are rules.
But they are not laws.
They are not laws in themselves because they were not created by Parliament.
Okay.
But they are, however, what we call statutory instrument. Okay. Because it is created by the executive arm of the government.
Okay.
Which is the secretary to the Home Office.
Home Office. Okay.
That Home Office is empowered to make rules as it relates to immigration. And that is why rules can be made by the Secretary of the Home Office, by the Office of the Secretary of the Home Office, before even presenting it to the House for debate.
Okay.
They have that autonomous power to make rules as it affects immigration. And that's why you keep seeing constant rules, new rules, 1 week, every day, every now and then. They can change it here and there. Unlike the normal way of creating law. The gamut of lawmaking will have to go through first reading, second reading, the committee, the report stage, third reading, then you now present it finally for royal assent. But immigration rules don't go through that. However, the Office of the Immigration is created by parliamentary operation.
Okay.
But any rules made by them becomes a statutory instrument.
Okay, so now, so does this leave to remain in the UK outside? I mean, leave outside the immigration rule. Does it have to do with the immigration office or of the United Kingdom?
Yes, leave outside the rule simply means to every immigration activities there are rules that governs them, and these rules state what you can do, what you can do, where you can go, where you can go, how long you can stay. They are determined by these rules. A lot of persons in this country, you see sometimes on your BRP, they tell you what you can do until you attain that status that gives you what we call, until you become a person with a settled status.
Okay, so I was just mentioning that. I know you're talking about the restrictions on people that still have the BRP. Now, I was just about mentioning on what law supports, when people have spent 5 years in the UK, they call it permanent residency, indefinite leave to remain in the United Kingdom. Who is eligible to live in the United Kingdom? To obtain ILR, and what law actually supports that?
Yeah, the law that supports that is part of this rule. So there are various routes to settlement.
Okay.
And the whole Secretary to the Home Office, the Office of the Secretary to the Home Office, makes this law as circumstance and situations allows. There are instances when there was so much acute shortage of health workers.
Yeah.
To attract people in, they say, okay, please, you can come to UK to work. You'll be given permission to work. Your permission to work is your BRP. It's just work permit.
Okay.
Because it's work permit, you cannot be in Nigeria and be shuttling between Nigeria to work here every day, just taking Nigeria as a case study. So it comes with resident permit. But this resident permit tied to that very healthcare visa that you get is a 60-month contract. That when you stay on this route for 60 months, that makes 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
You will be eligible to apply for ILR, which is in other climes like in Canada, they call it PR, permanent residence.
Yeah. In the climes like Canada and United States.
Yeah, they call it permanent residence. Yeah. Okay, now, this ILR allows you some measure of benefit. Okay. It allows you to enjoy public funds. It allows you to be able to access certain things that you would not have been able to access if you are just on your work permit and resident permit route. So when you get that ILR, it allows you to access a lot of things. It's like one step to getting your British passport, naturalization.
Okay. So for those of you that are actually joining this a conversation for the very first time, I could remember the last time we had a chat, we're talking about naturalization in the United Kingdom. So if you want to get access to that, because it's in the audio version, you can actually visit our podcast and it's Sparkz Global on Spotify and also on Anchor. So you can actually have access to those. Thank you very much, Mr. Promise Aku. Just let us now delve more into leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom. Who are those eligible? And if you can actually expatiate more, what are those requirements that they need to meet to qualify for leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom?
Okay, thank you, audience. The word leave outside the rule. A lot of persons, when they hear it for the first time, they believe it is a statement that allows you to breach the law, to violate the law. They say outside the rule. So, but the live outside the rule is the flexibility that comes with the rule.
Okay.
To every rule, the system has made a provision for flexibility. The live outside the rule says that what that stands for is live outside the rule applications allow an immigration case worker to grant an applicant leave to either leave to remain, or leave to enter, where normally such leave should not be granted.
Granted, okay.
So where such leave is granted, either to enter or to remain outside the rule, then that is known as LOTR application.
LOTR, yeah.
That is leave outside the rule.
Yeah.
Now, what is this leave outside the rule? What makes it? This leave outside the rule is sparingly granted, especially when it is properly applied for. It is not to make the caseworker to do what? To breach the law, but it is also part of the law to give flexibility to the rules made. Why flexibility? Imagine a person that comes to the UK via a visitor visa route, and the person is in the UK already, for whatever reason. To every visitor visa you get, for you not to breach your visa condition, you must adhere to the timing. Even when you get a 10-year visitor visa, you cannot stay more than 180 days at a time.
Okay. When
you stay 180 days, 1 day above 180 days, you have breached your visa conditions.
So that 180 days is just equivalent to 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
So when you stay above 6 months per time, the other time remaining on your visa becomes invalid because you have breached that visa condition.
Okay, and one can be sanctioned for that.
You may not be able to come in again.
Okay.
You may not be able to come in.
As a measure, as a sanction measure.
As a sanction. That is, you have breached the rule.
Okay.
That is the standard rule for, I'm just using a visitor visa for...
As an example. Yeah.
So now, but where a person comes in using a visitor visa and haven't spent 5 months, for whatever reason, there was an emergency. Emergency could come in any form. There was a situation beyond the person's control, genuine situation. At that point, the rule says 6 month leave. That's the rule. And everyone is to comply with the rule if you want to see come again.
Come again, yeah.
But now there is an emergency. Like I treated a situation recently.
Okay.
Where the person comes to the country as a visitor, using the visitor route. And while the person was here, the person suddenly fell sick. And upon medical examination, it was discovered that the sickness is just more than what appears on the face value. And the person has spent over 5 months already.
And has 6 months to spend.
And just has 6 months.
So 5 out of 6 months gone.
5 out of 6 months gone. So when the matter came, I know the only way is to come via the LOTR. The leave to remain outside the rule. Now, it comes with a representation application.
Okay.
That's why it's not just an application you just make. You need to understand what you are looking for. You need to put in those things they need to see. They need to hear. Those evidence.
Okay.
Documentary evidence to substantiate your reason for wanting to remain. And those things were put in place. We're able to gather all those informations why this person must not leave. And those things sent forward. Lo and behold, the Home Office on their own, after considering the application, because I have to paint the picture, I have to present things the way they are, the condition of the person.
The person, yeah.
And the Home Office was even getting all medical reports. They came home to carry out a biometric capturing for the person.
Wow.
This is a person on visit that ought not to get that privilege. That is outside the rule.
Outside the rule.
The rule says leave, but now they bend the rule. The flexibility in the rule to accommodate impromptu situations emergencies, some incontingencies.
Okay.
That is where outside the rule provision was made. That is more like a proviso. This is the rule. In law, there's something called proviso. Exceptions to the rule. This is the rule. There are exceptions to the rule. The exceptions is what we explore to help people get what they need to get. The exception to the rule.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Promise. So, literally, what you were saying is the flexibility leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom talks about the flexibility of the Home Office to actually accommodate emergency situations or contingencies that does not allow or permit such persons to stay within the allotted time that they are supposed to spend in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much for that enlightenment. To further ask. How long, now, take for instance, the situation you've actually painted now for the visitor that's supposed to spend 6 months. How long, is there any fixed time frame? Fixed time frame for that the Home Office will give to such persons, or it differs from one person to the other?
Yes, that's a very important question. Yeah, that is why we call it a discretionary application.
Okay.
It is at the discretion of the caseworker who considers all facts presented and make decision how long the person should stay.
Okay. There
are situations where a person comes on visit and we make this application, the person gets indefinite leave to remain.
That's because I was actually about asking a question about LOTR and also asylum. But before we go there, just to bring this more into view because of our audience and our listeners at home, I know some of them are skilled workers, and some people at a point in time are due for ILR. I mean, they've spent 5 years and they want to just get ILR. Now, can you bring that to scope as to is there any relationship between these for skilled workers who's got spouses that came in after them and the LOTR? I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So now a person has come as a skilled worker, but then he brought in his spouse or her spouse to come after them. Now it's getting closer to 5 years in the United Kingdom. And I don't know, because I know we were discussing about that before we started the program.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to just shed more light so that our audience also can benefit from the information as well.
All right. Yeah, like a skilled worker who has a grant of leave to enter.
Yeah.
What a skilled worker has is leave to enter. And by the time the skilled worker enter, then they get their work permit, which is the BRP, and it's double, it's 2-in-1, work permit and resident permit.
Yeah.
You're allowed to remain resident. It's limited leave. We'll call that limited leave to remain.
Yeah.
Because it's limited within the next 5 years. So where one of the partner comes in first, maybe after 12 months before the next partner comes in. By the time the principal applicant will have clocked 5 years, which is the 60th month, the dependent spouse has not clocked that time.
Yes.
So the principal applicant will be eligible to apply for his or her ILR.
Yeah.
But the dependent will not. However, the dependent children will be able, depending on their age, will be able to apply for their ILR irrespective of the time they've spent.
Yeah. Okay.
And that one is taken care of in the Section 55, Best Interest of Child. We call that Section 55, Children and Border Citizenship Immigration Act 2009.
Okay.
Section 55 talks about interest of a child. The mere fact that either of the spouse, either the dad or the mom, status has changed, it rubs on the children.
Automatically. Okay.
But it doesn't rub on the spouse.
Okay. So is that where now the leave outside the rule applies to the dependent, or it doesn't?
It doesn't apply.
Okay.
All the dependent spouse will do at this point is to apply for extension
via the Home Office.
Will now apply for extension. Now the spouse has ILR, indefinite leave to remain. The indefinite leave to remain is no longer health care.
Okay.
It is no longer health care. You already have the primary applicant has a settled status now. So the dependent applicant now, the dependent spouse applicant will now apply for a visa extension on spousal route. That is further leave to remain FM, family route.
Okay. So based on the fact that the principal applicant is now in a settled role, the dependent applicant now has that as an anchor.
Yes.
To hold on to apply for an extension in the visa.
Why do you want to stay? Because my spouse is a person with a settled status.
Okay.
Then at that point, such a spouse will be given 30 months.
30 months.
That's 2.5 years.
Okay. So after 2.5, let's say after 2.5 years, that doesn't still amount to 5 years for that spouse.
Then such application will still be made again.
Okay.
But don't forget that while you are making such application, it is no longer the recruiter satisfying maintenance like the first with your COS. Here you have a person with a settled status and a wife who is a dependent or husband who is a dependent. It will now attract IHS and application fee for the spouse.
Wow.
Applying for further leave to remain on spousal route. To call it family route.
Okay.
No longer on COS.
COS, yeah.
So it will attract the normal one fee. So, but where they come together, both of them will celebrate their 5-year stay anniversary together. Both of them will apply for the IHS. And don't forget, your IHS, you will pay for it.
Yeah.
That's the
so now, for our audience at home, I think actually this is actually making a lot of sense for you who have come into the United Kingdom on the COS certificate of sponsorship, we call it, and you're actually close to to getting your ILR, and your spouse is actually now going to be hung. I mean, this information is now very vital to you, and I think it's actually coming at a very prime time when you need it. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Promise. There's no way we will be talking about leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom and will not mention deportation.
Yeah.
There's no way we want to talk about it. Because when we are talking about staying, leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom, we want to talk about what brings about leave outside the rule. And that is you going back to wherever you're coming from, repatriation, isn't it? So now, on what ground, on what circumstance can actually bring a person to being deported, and which law, if there's any rule that backs that up?
Thank you, Mr. Kendi. The leave outside the rule has some what we call backings. Like I told you, it is the exception to the rule applied that gives flexibility to the rule. So now, and this leave outside the rule, reasons why grant of leave outside the rule comes is in line with the European Convention on Human Rights, Article 8, European Convention on Human Rights, Article 3. These two articles are very important. Article 8 deals with human rights.
Yeah.
Right to private and family life. Take, for example, a child, a mother that comes to the country has a child that's British and the mother is not. We have it like that. We have fathers with babies that are British and the father is not. In line with the European Convention on Human Rights, Article 8, right to private and family life. This man has right to a family. He's got a child who is a British. This man can apply for further leave to remain, family route, using Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights.
Okay.
We also have a situation where further leave LOTR application is granted on the strength of European Convention on Human Rights Article 3 that provides that where there is a chances of a person being tortured, slavery, discrimination, and so many unpalatable actions from one person against you, the law allows that person to enjoy the benefit of LOTR, leave to remain outside the rule.
Okay. So is it the same? Is it the same now? I know you've not really answered my question in terms of deportation, but it does. Does this now talk about the last scenario you painted? Does he actually go with asylum seeking?
Yes. Like asylum is more like a microcosm of all we are discussing, just an aspect.
Okay.
Asylum and refugee.
Okay.
Now, to answer your question on deportation before I come to asylum.
Yes.
Deportation is the last thing the system wants to do to anyone.
Okay.
Deportation is more a punitive sanction. There is a level of crime you will commit that the next thing the Home Office will file to the court is a deportation order.
Okay.
An order for deportation. This order will be filed to the court by the Home Secretary to the Home Office to seek permission to deport a particular person with reason. And what are the things that can make a person deportable?
Thank you. Yeah.
Not just crime. A recidivist will be deported. Who is a recidivist? A person that is prone to crime commission.
I was about asking, what does that mean?
A recidivist is a person that by his nature or for whatever reason is prone to crime commission.
Okay.
One crime after the other, one crime after the other. It does not matter if you've been naturalized and you have a British passport. You can still be deported depending on the magnitude of the offense. When you fall under serious crime offense.
So you've just mentioned, you've just touched on my last question, the last question, because we are running out of time now, and I want us to quickly capture one or two things that I want our audience to actually learn from. Don't worry, Mr. Promise Acquis for Horse is definitely going to come back, but then just before you continue, I was about asking, as a British citizen, let's assume as an immigrant, as a British citizen, can you still be deported? And of course, you've actually just answered that. So I'll just allow you to continue what you're saying. So.
Yeah, like British citizens, there's British citizen by naturalization, and there's British citizen by birth, and there are persons that are British citizen because they are English. Now, those ones have no other home. But there are some persons that are originally from somewhere, but maybe they may be second generation British citizen. First generation British citizen. We have got that. Now, where there is a commission of crime that falls under the Serious Crime Act, and the judge looks at it, and the sentence for that act extends to 12 months. If the sentence of that action extends to 12 months, the conviction, then subsequent sentence extends to 12 months, the law allows the Home Office to apply to the court to get a deportation order after the sentence is served.
So if it's up to a year, so the Home Office can apply to the court and get the person to be deported thereafter.
And that is why you see some persons, they have British passport, they have this and that, but originally they're from somewhere. After finding themselves involved in a serious crime act that contravenes that serious crime act, after serving the terms, the Home Office will have the person deported. But we ever have a situation where the persons will get an attorney to plead on their behalf using Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, right to private and family life and human rights. That please, I've got family here. I know I've wrong. I've done this and that. Please let me stay because of family. They come out via the angle of human rights.
Okay, so
now I haven't served my time. I've served my punishment enough. Please let me stay
with my family.
With my family. So now it is now at the discretion of the court now to look at that and make pronouncement whether you are to allow to stay or to give the nudge for you to still be removed forcefully.
So thank you very much. You've actually spent up to half an hour on this program, and thank you also our audience and listeners out there. I want to believe that you've actually gained one or two things talking about leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom. What are those? Who are those people that are eligible to do that, and what are those criteria that make you a perfect person to be eligible for that? Before we actually go, I have one last question for you, Mr. Promise. Now, we're talking about leave outside the rule in the United Kingdom, and it's actually like a flexibility. Is there any chance that this application, what are the chances that the applications can be rejected? On what ground can they be rejected? Has there been a rejection of such applications in time past before? And what are the circumstances that surround it?
Yeah. To every applications, there are rooms for rejection. I like telling my clients when they come to our office and where they meet me one-on-one, that granting of leave is an exception to the rule. The number one golden rule is that by all means refuse the application. So granting of leave, or what you call visa, is an exception to the rule. If there's any reason why you should not grant it, please don't grant it. It is when everything is okay, then grant. That is the position. Now, the LOTR, I like to state here that it is not automatic. You need to provide sufficient reason, compelling reasons, compassionate reasons to sway the mind of the caseworker to yield to your prayers. That's one. More often, you have persons whose visas are about to expire. Maybe on student route, on whatever route. And once your visa expires, you've been given a notice, maybe a 60 days notice, that please, in 60 days, if you can't get a means of switching, you are to leave the country. Once your visa expires and that very day given you has passed, you are seen in the eyes of the law as an overstayer. An overstayer is a person that has breached his or her visa condition. At this point, before the expiration of your decision, make sure you have an application. Put up another application even while you are waiting. So once there's an application in process for you, it takes you away from being an overstayer to a regular person until the decision of that application comes out. And that is to buy you time.
To do whatever thing you want to do.
So that within this time while you are waiting, it could be 6 months, it could be 1 year, you are still, everything will still remain under status quo. The status you were before the application, that's the status you will be even when your visa has expired, because you have an application in place waiting for decision. That will now allow you, once you get a means to switch, you can switch without being seen as one that has breached his or her visa conditions. These applications are essentially designed to buy you time. Because once you have breached your visa condition, any application you make has consequence. May 90% not be granted, even if you have all the requirements. Because first thing they will see that you have breached your visa condition by overstaying. And that is the first thing that will come, that will pop up. Your name will be flagged up And that it doesn't matter how beautiful the application is, you've overstayed your welcome. You've breached your visa condition. Nothing work. All they will tell you is, please leave the country or we'll remove you forcefully to detention center.
All right, Mr. Promise, thank you very much for this enlightenment and for these powerful information you've just released. And I want to believe that you've actually just empowered a vast majority of people who are immigrants in the United Kingdom, not only from Africa, but also from other climes of the world. And also to our audience, thank you very much for staying tuned to Sparkz Global. My name is Kenniesparkz with double N. And till the next time I come on this show, on this same topic again, on talking about the law with Mr. Promise Ako, then don't forget, dreams always do come true. And make sure you set out achievable goals to achieve them. Till I come your way again, enjoy and cheers.